And moving on, U.S. Congresswoman Rashida Tlaib was awarded the title of the 2023 Anti-Semite of the Year. The award is given out annually by Stop Anti-Semitism, a nonpartisan U.S.-based organization that fights and exposes anti-Semitism. Tlaib beat out supermodel Gigi Hadid and the political leader of Hamas himself, Ismail Haniyeh, which shows just how severely Americans view Tlaib's anti-Semitic rhetoric. Last year, Kanye West received the so-called honor. Tlaib received the award after 15,000 people cast their votes. Stop Anti-Semitism executive director said that the Congresswoman has a long history of anti-Semitism, but her statements in the wake of the October 7th attack, blaming Israel for Hamas's massacre and defending calls for the genocide of Jews, are what earned her this year's title.
These squad members just cannot get out of their way, man. They cannot help themselves from doing something stupid and just making their mark in the most ridiculous way possible. And you know, the way I see it, if you're someone like Rashida Tlaib and you've already been outed as an anti-American, anti-Semitic bigot, you really can only go one of two ways. You can either count your lucky stars that no one has seemed to notice, or more accurately, no one really cares, and clean up your act before your constituents or somebody else kicks you out of Congress. Or more likely, what she's actually chosen to do, feel completely emboldened and up the ante on your insanity. And she just took a position on a bill that literally any reasonable person on the planet would disagree with. And I'm going to show you this vote in Congress that you would think would be a slam dunk no-brainer for 100% unanimous bipartisan support, which may as well be a unicorn nowadays. And still, she's not the only brain-dead Democrat that found a way to come out against this.
As you know, Hamas murdered more than 1,400 Israelis, and they still hold more than 100 of them hostage somewhere. So it would seem that banning them from entering the United States would be a no-brainer, right? But apparently squad members Rashida Tlaib and Cori disagree, as the only two members of Congress voting against a ban last night. Let them in, they say. Fox and Friends weekend co-host Pete Hegseth joins us right now from the Hegseth compound. Pete, let's just examine it. They are Hamas terrorists. Okay, Hamas murdered all those people, and they're terrorists. Mm-hmm. I don't think I'd let either one of them in, but both of them are okay with them.
Absolutely. It's actually very forward-looking for them. They're looking out for higher education. Who are going to be the guest lecturers at Harvard and Columbia and the University of Michigan without Hamas terrorists? We're in short supply, or special guests at their Democratic Socialist of America fundraisers between the two of them. You know, the nickname for their group has been, and they've sort of denied it, right? The Hamas Caucus, the squad, the Hamas Caucus. Well, now two of them have just come out and said, well, we're okay with Hamas entering the United States. They say the law is redundant, Steve. That's their argument. The argument, they're saying it would already be on the books that these people would not be allowed in. Really? Have you seen our immigration system? By the way, if Hamas members wanted to get into our country, just get a one-way ticket to Mexico City. And that's currently the easiest way to get into our country. So it doesn't actually bar them because of our open borders, but it is demonstrative of their upside-down world, which says, no, the real terrorists are the United States of America, are the IDF, and the freedom fighters are the Hamas terrorists who massacred 1,200 innocent people. That's their worldview, and they're elected members of Congress, and their voters continue to vote for them. It's who they are, and we should believe them at this point.
Well, you know, Tlaib put out a statement last night afterwards, and you know who she blames for this whole thing? Republicans, of course. She writes, it's just another Republican messaging bill being used to incite anti-Arab, anti-Palestinian, and anti-Muslim hatred that makes communities like ours unsafe. It's very clear. We don't want Hamas here. No. We don't want terrorists here. It's that easy.
Yes. Or if you want to represent the Muslim community, stand up and say, yes, we are pro-Muslim, pro-Arab, pro-Palestinian, but we are anti-Hamas. Right. And we want to be very clear about who we are and who we aren't. And she failed in that test.
All right. Meanwhile, let's talk about something else that happened.
422 to 2. I mean, that is almost impossible to believe that someone could be that dense, and let alone someone, two people are that dense. They're so willing to stand against anything a conservative could possibly support that they will stand against barring terrorists, literal terrorists, from emigrating to the United States. I mean, it makes no sense. This bill was such a no-brainer that both AOC and Ilhan Omar voted in favor of it. And really, I'm not even giving them credit. It's not like they did anything special. They agreed that any Palestinian individual that was involved in what many people consider the most gruesome terrorist attack in modern history should not be welcomed to this country. I mean, it's a no-brainer. This should not be a controversial position, but if you're Cori Bush or Rashida Tlaib, apparently that's an offensive idea, which on one hand, I mean, that's no great surprise. Let me know in the comments if you're surprised by this. I'm not surprised. I believe both of them, my opinion is that they're the worst kind of unhinged America-hating leftist. So I'm not surprised by their position, but I am surprised by the fact that they're bold enough to take that position in an election year. Tells you what they really, really think of their voters. But, you know, and I'm not surprised by the party, but I am definitely disappointed that they are members of a party that will refuse to condemn them for their vote. Won't even say a peep. And that is one of the most remarkable things about any of this, you know. I hope that all this stuff gets played on a loop in campaign ads in their district, and I hope that makes a dent. It probably won't, who knows? But, you know, here's what I believe. I believe that if they cannot agree that terrorists should not be imported, then we can't really trust them on any topic or with any responsibility in government at all. I think it's that simple, but that's just my take, guys. Let me know yours in the comments, and if you haven't already, please make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Most importantly, share the channel. I'll see you in the next one.